So this is how we're building our bar graph. Here we have our information. 1,500 minutes total that you spend in class time in a given week, of which 500 minutes are language, 300 minutes are math, 200 minutes are French, 100 art, science, music, and phys ed, 50 minutes each for drama, dance, and TLCP. Okay? Now that we have that information, I'm going to bring my handy-dandy lined paper in here, or my hopefully grid paper. In this case I don't. Now I want to think about what I have down here. I need an X and a Y axis. I have numbers, and numbers typically do well along the Y axis up the side, and I have different periods, different subjects that we've got. That'll typically go well down the side, the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to draw my gorgeous little Y-axis coming down, and I may have to tweak that later on. Okay, and I'm going to put in an X-axis. Now if you have graph paper, it's a much better way to do this. Okay, oh, beautiful. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to have another look at my numbers. I don't need to graph my total. That's not a big deal at all for this. That's something we'd use for our for a circle graph or something like that. But I'm looking for the biggest number, 500 minutes for language. So I know that my 500 needs to be somewhere up here. So I'm going to grab my handy-dandy ruler again, have another look at how many centimeters in this case I've got. So right now I've got just over 11 centimeters total, which tells me that a good way to graph this is probably 1 centimeter per 100 minutes. So again, because I don't have graph paper, I'm going to grid it out. I'm doing a mark every centimeter. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. More than I need. But because I've got all that room, I'm thinking about it. I'm realizing if I did every notch is 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, my 500 minutes for language would end up over here. And my 50 minutes for my drama, dance, and phys ed would only be down here. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go up by 50. 50, 100, 150, 200, I'm going to skip this one, 300, skip it, 400, skip it, 500. You can write these in 250, 350, 450. The important part is that whatever this distance here, this is worth 50, every other time I go up by that same amount, it also has to be worth 50. I can't go 50, 100, 150, 200, 300, 400, because then I'm saying over here 1 centimeter is worth 50, but over here it's worth 100. I can't do that, so I'm going to fill this in just so it's clear. 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550. Okay? Now, what are these? These are the number of minutes, so I need a good title. See? Good? Sure, why not? Bottom line, it's clear, okay? Down along the bottom, I'm going to have my different subjects, okay? And because we're doing a bar graph, I can choose if they're going to butt up against each other or not. In this case, I don't want them to. So I'm going to make little marks at the 1 centimeter areas. Because I don't have graph paper, you won't need to do that for yours. Okay? And so over here, I'll do language. I'll do math. So this part here is language. I've left a space. This part here is for math. Leaving a space. French. Art, science, music. Gonna have to add some more line here. Anybody know any good jokes while we're waiting? Music, phys ed, drama dance, and TLCP. Please space these out the same for each. Don't leave a little itty bitty gap in one and then a much bigger gap in the next. That gets yucky to look at. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to look at your numbers. 500 minutes for language. So you're going to go up all the way to your 500. I'm going to make a little mark over here. And straight across from 500. And notice I'm using my ruler for any of these lines instead of trying to draw them freehand. There's my bar for 500. Language. Math. I look back, it's 300, so right over here. And again, some of these things you wouldn't need to do if you're using grid paper because the lines are your guide. Again, color is nice, but not going to make or break your math grade. Okay, I'll do one more just so you get a feel for it. There's my French at 200 minutes per week. Okay, now one thing I do need to do is put a title down at the bottom so I know what we're dealing with. These are subjects. And finally, I need a title for the top of my graph. And this title needs to describe very clearly to the person who's looking at my graph, what is this all about? Okay? How about the number of, should I capitalize that, minutes per week, 6, 7, E, spends in different classes, different subjects. Okay, and you're done. You end up with your gorgeous graph once it's all finished. Okay, color is good again, but not critical. I probably should put the year in different subjects, 2013-14. Awesome. Peace out.